Good morning, traders. Welcome to the Bookmap Platform Details webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. Good morning, Marvino. Risk disclaimer, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, what we'll do in this webinar here is introduce you to Bookmap, who uses it, how to connect it to the various markets, how to subscribe to it, and then we'll look at the basic interface in Bookmap, how to read it, and look at the basic order flow. Okay, this is the basic education that you get with Bookmap. There is advanced education that comes when you subscribe. Okay, you get access to a 4-part educational course, and then in that course we go through from basic market mechanics all the way up into much more advanced order flow phenomena. And then every day at 11 a.m. We back up that same course content in the advanced order flow webinar. Okay, so you get access to that when you subscribe as well. I'll hand it out this morning to you so that you guys get access to it on Friday. That's what we usually do, so that you can see or get a sneak peek into our analysis. Okay, so when you subscribe to Bookmap, you get education, and that education will help you integrate order flow within your trading. All right, so let me give you that link here to the advanced order flow webinar to begin with, and then we'll take a look here at the website here. Just a second. All right, just getting the link here. So bear with me a moment. Okay. All right, so in the chat, let's open the chat up. Here you go. Okay, there's the link for the advanced order flow webinar. So just click on that and register. That said, there's another webinar series coming up, and I want to point this out to you. So let's go to our website to begin with here. You'll find the link here. Okay, so we'll scroll down a bit. And no, not here. Next one. Okay, so our Pro Trader webinar series here. Okay, November 5th through November 9th. That's next week. Really looking forward to it. We have all sorts of great traders here. Let's, if you guys want to register, click here. The window pops up, and we'll just go through who's trading here or who is presenting. You may know them, or you may even be following them. They're pretty prolific traders. And the whole idea here is to get other insights to how other professional traders use Bookmap and use order flow for their trading. Okay, they're going to be looking at a variety of different things. So, for example, well, we have on Monday Jay Trader. He is equities trader. He's going to be talking about large caps. On Tuesday we have Walter. He is a futures trader. So is Luis and Niels Koops on Thursday. These are all excellent traders. And then on Friday, we have Hammer Trader, who is looking at small caps. Okay, very interesting method that he is using. Okay, so that's the lineup here. And this is where you sign up here. In fact, I can give you the link to it as well if you want to click on that. Let's see, where do I have that link? Oh, okay, yeah. Hold on just a minute, and I'll get that link for you guys. Just a second here, but yeah, it should be a great event. Really looking forward to it. And I'll have it here in just a moment. This is just taking a bit of time. So sorry about that. Oh, God. All right, let's try this again. No, that's not it. Okay, here we go. don't know if any of you attended the equities DX feed webinar yesterday, and how was it? Did you guys enjoy it there? Um, oh, thanks, Marvino. Okay, yeah, you were in there. Um, yeah, okay, so let me hand you this link here. This is for the Pro Trader event, okay? So there, it's in the chat there, so you have it. Okay, so I have a few different links for you in there. Anyway, we'll see if you guys want, oh good, Melissa, so you found it very helpful as well. Okay, we'll hand out the links again here. I just kind of juggle all these different links here. Anyway, that's fine. I'll paste them back in at the end of the webinar as some people start to kind of straggle in here. A nice sell-off here in the ES, and something interesting I'll show you guys in the order flow here. And then you'll see it in the advanced order flow webinar as well. Lots of good stuff to go over in that already. Already kind of planning it out for that next webinar. So make sure you attend if you have the time. All right. Okay, so went through the education. You guys know what that is. Let's go into, you know about the Pro Trader, you know about the webinar following here at 11 a.m. Let's go through and define what Bookmap is. Okay, so Bookmap is a software trading platform. Okay, we're software, just like any other platform out there. We're not a data provider, we're not a broker, we're not an indicator. A lot of people think we're some sort of indicator, and we're not. We're actually showing the market very, very objectively. Best view I've ever seen of the market that's showing the most data in a very unique way that I think gives a real advantage to your trading. So anyway, let's continue on. Who uses Bookmap? Day traders, scalpers, swing traders, and quants. This is the environment we came from at sub-second level, developing algos. And then Bookmap, the original version of Bookmap wasn't for sale, it was for us. We are traders, and we came from this environment here in HFT and visualizing how we were getting filled with our algos, what some of the conditions were. We started to note, though, as we zoom out, the same conditions apply on higher time frames. That allowed it and started to look into developing this as a product. Okay, for the day traders, scalpers, swing traders, and even position traders. We're going to go over some higher time frame stuff today because we're seeing this nice sell-off here, which is making good sense of what's going on. Let's continue on here. Okay, so connectivity. So what markets does Bookmap connect to? Okay, futures, US equities, and digital currencies. Okay, you will need to provide the data for futures and for US equities. Okay, we're not a data provider, nor are we a broker. Okay, we're software. The digital currencies, though, the data is free, so you can be up and running and connected to Bookmap immediately with that. Okay, you won't need to provide that data. Now, connecting to US equities, you'll use DX feed. Okay, that's the method that how we connect to the US equities. Now for futures, you have a variety of options. You have Rhythmic, CQG, Gain Capital, Transact, IQ Feed, Nanotick, and Cedro. Okay, now you can also connect via the API of Interactive Brokers, Ninja 7 and 8, and TTX Trader Pro. However, you know, why go through the API and maybe you know, it might affect the data that's coming in. They may be aggregating in some strange way or something. So just bypass it if you can. I mean, we have many traders who use Ninja 7 and 8, but it's recommended to bypass it altogether and go directly with the data provider like Rhythmic or CQG. All right. Okay. So pricing and packages. Let's go through that. How you can subscribe monthly here, yearly with a 20% discount, and you also have lifetime options. Okay, let's go over the monthly options here. You can see 3 different versions of Bookmap here, digital and global versions. You can see the digital version is free. Okay, this is only for one digital currency at a time. That's it. Okay, so it is limited, but the markets are always open and the data is free, so you can always check out a live market. Okay. Now, if you want more than one digital currency at a time, then go with the global version. The global version also allows you connectivity to US equities and the futures markets, okay? But you will need to provide the data for that. Global Plus version here is $99 per month. This offers the addition of our add-on indicators. Okay, iceberg detector, looking at larger players, for example, in the order book, or hiding from the order book, but our algos can still detect them. All right, so I mentioned the Pro Trader webinar series. If you came in late, click here. It's all next week. There are no other webinars next week. Okay, it's just this event only. Okay, so no 10:30 webinar. It's only 11 a.m. except for on Thursday we have a 12:30 event. Okay, Niels Koops, who's an excellent trader, just excellent. He could not present until 12:30. All right, just some resources to go through. The blog up here, click on that, and you'll see all sorts of stuff here. Interviews with traders. Here's a new one here. All sorts of materials, information here about Bitcoin or BitMEX, Bitfinex, some awards we've won here, etc. Anyway, all sorts of good stuff there. Let's go to our Twitter page. Okay, really good stuff here as well. And you can see more about JTrader here for Monday's presentation. Anyway, fantastic trader as well. 20 years experience. This guy's been trading since he was 18 years old. And he's a monster, amazing trades. If you want the lineup here, you can click here and look at some of the details of the lineup. All right. Okay. YouTube channel, just quickly go over some of the playlists on the front page. If you're new, watch some of these intro videos here. Then these order flow education videos, these you'll find helpful. This is what Bookmap visualizes, and this is the advantage that you get. All right. So that said, let's jump into Bookmap and take a look at that advantage. Okay. What are we displaying here and how to read it? Okay. Because a lot of you are going to look at this and you're going to think, I've never seen a chart like this. Okay. It looks extremely foreign and very complex. Let me break it down because it's actually really straightforward. And like I said earlier, a very, very objective view of what's going on here in this market. Okay, we're looking at three elements on the chart. We're looking at current and historical best bid and offer. Then we're looking at these volume dots here, which are the transactions that took place on that best bid and offer. And then finally, we're looking at the heat map. Okay, and the heat map is a representation of the order book. Okay, it's a historical view of it. All right, so let's cover that part first, and then we'll get into the volume dots and the best bid and offer, and why that's an advantage the way we're displaying it here. Okay, so let's go over the order book. For those of you trading from a DOM or accustomed to looking at a DOM or depth of market, this is going to be great for you. Okay, so because you're going to be able to use your DOM not only for that current market, but you're going to be able to use it for the historical market. Okay, big advantage there. So this vertical white line, this separates the historical view here to the left, and to the right, this is the current market window. Okay, right here you see the best bid and offer, last traded volume, and then the heat map. The heat map is a representation of liquidity. Okay, so let's cover this COB column here. It stands for current order book. This is your depth of market, your DOM. Let's zoom in a little bit more. All right, so in the DOM, these numbers here, these numeric values, well, we all know what that is. This is liquidity. These are limit orders. This is where traders are lined up to sell above current price. Down below current price, they want to be buyers. And we can see the depth, right? The depth of this market. Where are the traders lined up? You can see that actually with Rhythmic, I'm using Rhythmic data here. You can see down here. And it's showing unlimited depth here. Okay, so all of these levels are live. See how these numbers are changing way down here? Okay, that's more than 10 levels. Okay, in fact, we can zoom out. and all of these levels are live. You'll see some of these numbers change up here as well every now and then. Okay, so anyway, that's the way that the market is going. The future of these markets is to show complete depth like this and more transparency. Okay, so let's go over how we're devising, or how this heat map is developed here and what it's showing. Okay, so these numeric values in the order book, when they change, when liquidity is added or pulled, okay, is changed in the heat map. Okay, now I've got the heat map set up pretty high, so I'm looking at just basically the higher volume or higher number of contracts in the liquidity. Okay, so 300 up here, well, you can see how they're pulling and how it got darker there. Now they're back and it's orange. Okay, there it is. That's the adding and pulling of liquidity. Okay, so that's the graphical representation of these numeric values in the DOM. The scale for that heat map is up here. Red, orange, very high liquidity, and then at the bottom, black and this blue is very low liquidity. Okay, now you can bump up and change that scale if you like. Okay, we can come here to the upper and lower cutoff here, and we can show all sorts of details if you want. Okay, or you can filter it. It's really up to you. Okay, what time frame you're trading on, and condition of the market, etc. Right? Okay, so that's what we're looking at. Okay, so these numbers change, the heat map changes to reflect it. Now, what we do though is we record it and we plot it on the chart. So this really complex looking thing in the heat map here is actually really simple. It's just the adding and pulling of liquidity. Okay, what this allows us to do is understand now the auction historically. Okay, so this little area here, they're adding and pulling in, but they look like they really want a deal here at 27.29. They're staying in the book now. Okay, before though they weren't, right? As price came up here, they were pulling and adding and pulling in this little area here. And now they seem to be a little more secure about their position to sell at 29. Anyway, we'll see if we come up here and test, and we'll see if they stay in the book. Okay, so that's the key here, starting to understand the intent of these traders. Okay, in an auction, just think if you go to an auction, okay, and this is probably the best analogy for the market. I mean, it's not an analogy, it's what it actually is. Okay, so look at these guys pulled now, so they really didn't want to trade here. Now the buyers can trade through this area, through 30, through 31, all the way up into 32 here. Okay, because there's less liquidity. The higher liquidity is way up here. Okay, so it doesn't take as much aggressive buy volume to trade up through those areas. Look what's happening on the other side right here. See 400 on the other side? They flipped from offer to bid. And now we're getting a little bit of a battle here. See how the sellers actually took on those guys. Okay, so this is maybe a potential trap here. And if the sellers can come in on the other side, we're going to come right back down into this kind of 26, 25, or maybe 27 area. They're showing a little bit of interest. Okay, and let's make a distinction here. We just saw it. This is a little more tricky because this is actually one of the telltales we look for in the advanced order flow webinars. So a lot of traders, they look at the DOM and they say, well, I don't really watch it because it's all fake liquidity anyway. It's not. It can't be. It needs liquidity to trade, and we can see it here. We can see exactly what unfolded. So up at our 29 area here, looked like they wanted to trade. Then they pulled. As price is coming up, they started pulling. They started pulling up here at 30, 31, even a little bit up here at 32. Okay, and it was wide open for the buyers to lift the offer up into that area, and they didn't. In fact, what we saw was a push on the other side on the bid with very high liquidity here, right? And so skewing the book, trying to show a lot of demand here, right? But the sellers actually traded into them, and here's what that looks like. Okay, so they actually are long. Okay, at this 29.25. Okay, so high liquidity here, 400 contracts or so, and almost all of them traded here, 356. Okay, So that's what real liquidity looks like that stays in the book and trades or transacts. And this is what liquidity that has no intent to trade looks like here. Okay, that allows us to start to understand what's going on in the auction. Okay, because now we know that these guys are long. Okay, so if we can get a little more follow through to the upside, okay, and we can see it here. It's tricky right now, but now we're getting the follow through here, and finding some sellers up here too. So it's tricky today, very tricky, in fact. Anyway, that's the distinction between those that want to buy and those that don't. All right, or want to trade and those that don't. Okay, so that's just the heat map. Okay, and we covered that in some detail. The main point, though, about this heat map that I want to go over is we can zoom out. Okay, because we're looking at really kind of, small levels here and starting to understand what's going on there. But here we can zoom out and look at the big picture. Hey, what's going on here? Well, look at this long-term high liquidity stays in the book down here at this 27.25. They get filled, it trades through it, but then it comes back up above it and they're flipping again down here. They were on the, I'm sorry, they're not flipping, they're just adding back in at this area here. They want to be buyers, okay? So this is a good sign here, okay, for a potential move or reversal even to the upside and where price might go. Okay, well, there's high liquidity up here. There's also quite a bit of liquidity in this area here, just at the above the swing at kind of this 34 area. And let's see if we can get back up into that area on that buy side. Anyway, and look at the right around 10 o'clock here, or after just before 10:30, very high liquidity here, and we trade into it and through it. Okay, this is what we're going to go over in the advanced webinar. This move to the downside here. Okay, and why we're bearish on this move to the downside. Okay, so anyway, so if you attend that, that's what we're gonna go over. All right, so using the heat map, using liquidity, adding that into our trading, not just volume, but understanding now liquidity. All right, so the other elements on the chart, just two others, it's just three elements here, and that's the volume. Okay, that transacts on that best bid and offer. So this is, let's just zoom in here and I'll show you. We're at sub-second levels here, but I just want to make the point here of really what this data is and how simple it is and how straightforward it is. Best offer is this red line. Okay, that's just where if you wanted to buy, well, this is where you're going to get transacted here. Okay, with a market buy order. And that's actually what we're showing here with the green dots. The green dots are aggressive market buy orders. Okay, they just they're not providing liquidity, they took it. Someone was offering at this price level, and someone said, "Okay, I'm willing to pay that for it." And the transaction takes place, and the green dot paints. Okay, it's the opposite on the offer. Okay, this aggressive seller comes in and they hit the bid and take liquidity off of the best bid. Okay, now you can see that there's all sorts of transactions that take place, and size of the dot gives you insight to the amount of volume that trades. You can use the data tip tool here, hover over that, and you can see the date, the time, what was on the bid here, and the volume it traded, so 62 contracts. Now let's zoom into this little area here because we're showing an aggregate view of all of these 62 contracts. Okay, if I zoom in, I just want to show you, because this is important, how precisely we're recording all that data. Still, this makes up the 62 here, but these were clusters. Actually, there's 1, 2, 3 clusters, okay? And then clusters within clusters here. But anyway, now we're down to the microsecond level, looking at millions of seconds. Okay? It's just very precisely recorded. Right? There's really, I haven't seen other platforms record the data so well, just like Bookmap does, because they're aggregating it and diluting it. Okay, you're not getting a full picture because all that data is going to be diluted. Okay, that's why this very simple way of showing volume and best bid and offer allows a lot of insight here. Okay, now we can also start to see structures and start to understand the structures here. Okay, based on the volume and that best bid and offer, along with the condition of the auction. Okay, so for example, look at this sideways consolidation area here. Look at this move down below here, and there's some sell volume here. Okay, well, what happened in this structure? We went outside of the structure. Okay, and this is just why we're going over this structure and why it's important is because this area here is a value of price. Okay, well, someone thought it was worth less than that, and they started to hit the bid here. Okay, outside of this value area here. Yeah, well, someone was willing, responsive buyers were willing to jump in on the other side and start to buy. Okay, and they did. In fact, they did, and they took it to the other side of this range right here, as you can see. All right, so this is trap volume here. Someone was willing to say, okay, well, if this is a deal, if it's outside of this little value and on this time frame, which is, we're looking at 15 seconds per each dotted line here, but this structure and this understanding of price works on all time frames. Okay? And we'll see it. We'll probably see several examples just today in the advanced order flow webinar. Okay, so the move back in and back to the other side of the range. This is actually a nice little range-bound trade. Yeah, so that's it. So if you were looking at a candlestick chart, you would not see this detail. So for example, let's put up a candlestick chart. Okay? 5-minute candlestick chart. Yeah, here's what you see. You're just going to see rotation of price in a bar. Okay, and all of this kind of detail and understanding of who's in control is going to be lost. It's all diluted within a periodicity of time or volume or range or whatever. Okay, so that's why it is advantageous to display the data this way. Okay, so even a footprint chart, you're going to see volume precisely trading on this bar here, but it's going to dilute the structure and understanding of really what's going on. Anyway, that's the advantage that we show here in Bookmap. All right, let me give you that link one more time here for that advanced order flow webinar for those of you who came in late. Okay, just a minute. And we're going to jump right over to that. So be quick and click on the link there that I just put in, or copy it. Actually, let me see if I can do it again here. Yeah. Okay, there you go. So yeah, click on that link and then register, and we'll see you over there in just a minute. Okay. All right, guys.